Yeah, well, real life got in the way for us to talk about what a lot of people consider literally the biggest wrestling show of all time. All Elite Wrestling descending upon Wembley Stadium in what is now going to be a yearly thing, as they announced at the end of this pay-per-view, which I think is awesome, making it like a
Yeah,
destination. Um,
that is awesome that this is going to be a yearly thing. What's not awesome is that Tony Khan is still he's sticking to his guns and he's going to make All In and All Out like within a week of each other. And we're
Great.
going to find out on Sunday if that's a smart decision or not, because there are some good things about this and there's some bad things about this. This show drew over 81,000 people. Apparently this is the most, and again, I'm going to tread lightly on this subject because it's a subject that I honestly don't give a shit about, but apparently the rest of the wrestling community does. Apparently this is the most paid attendance show wrestling wise in history, more than SummerSlam 92, more than WrestleMania 32 in 2016. I don't give a shit, if I'm being perfectly honest. This discussion about attendance, paid attendance, I don't give a rat's ass. All I know is that it's a stadium full of fans, and this felt like AEW's WrestleMania, but at the same time, it did not. And we'll be getting into a lot of that in the show, but this was a pretty stacked card. I
Mhm.
can't say the same about the build, but this is probably one of the most polarizing AEW shows in history for a lot of reasons. I enjoyed the show a lot. There was some good and there was some but I'm happy to say there was nothing really bad on the show. There was nothing really that made me upset or like just bored me to death. This was a pretty solid show. What was
Mhm.
not fun was the pre-show starting at 9 o'clock in the morning,
Hey,
which,
Tomas. Hey, Tomas. It's a real glass. Cry me a river. You have to wake up
oh,
at
we'll get
9
to
a.m.
that.
in the morning.
We'll fucking get to that.
I mean, these British people like have to wake up at like what, like midnight to watch a normal pay-per-view.
Yeah, so if we
Waking
have to
up,
do it,
waking up early for a British pay-per-view with us being in the States, it's fine every once in a while, but it's like don't do it
yeah.
every month, you know?
Oh, yeah. And it's like, I feel like ever since the last time a WWE pay per view was not like international, I believe was WrestleMania. Because, we got the Puerto Rico pay per view with Backlash. We got the Money in the Bank being in the UK. We got Saudi Arabia show. And it's just like,
Well,
these pay per views, they're getting.
SummerSlam was just in Detroit in a
Oh,
stadium,
you're
so
right. Yeah. But there's been a gap, and it's been really, really weird with WWE switching over to Saturdays for their pay-per-views. It's been like really messing with my psyche lately. But yeah, this was
I
a
like
very,
it.
very, very big show, and including pre-show matches, there was 13 matches on the show. Honestly,
Fucking
it
hell.
didn't feel as bloated as other AEW pay-per-views did. I think this show was fairly paced, and the action was very good in this show. And we're gonna quickly go through the buy-in because I was able to watch the buy-in, and by I say watch it, I was like in and out watching it at the same time. I was out getting donuts for us because it was really early in the morning. So I missed the entrances for Adam Cole and MJF challenging Aussie Open for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. I was kind of eyeballing this match. This has been the focal point of this pay per view is these two, Adam Cole and MJF, bookending the shows because Cole and MJF are fighting for the AEW World Championship at the end of the show. And because they
Mhm.
failed to win the AEW tag team titles from FTR, this is MJF's way of like making up to it. Like, oh, let's challenge for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And I did not think that Cole and MJF had any chance in hell of winning these tag team titles. Aussie Open is too good of a tag team.
Yes.
And I feel like this would just add to the story of MJF and Cole's like ultimate demise. And
Mhm.
that's one really cool thing about this storyline is that me personally, everybody thinks this is all finally MJF has turned babyface. This is finally the turning point for him. I don't believe that for 1 second because MJF said the best trick the devil ever pulled off was convincing everybody he did not exist. I do not believe MJF is truly turning babyface. I believe he is going to snap on Adam Cole, and any minute now he's going to go back to his devilish ways. That could just be me. That could be me giving MJF maybe a little too much credit. But this has been one of the best storylines in AEW history just because of the passion,
I
because of
freaking
the
love
great
it.
promos, the great storytelling that these two guys have been doing. But I wasn't even paying attention. This was a fairly decent match, but Cole and MJF call for the double clothesline, and they win.
Yep,
They
MJF
win.
wins with a donkey kick. And
Kangaroo kick. I'm
Yep.
gonna correct you right there.
It's a
kangaroo
donkey kick. It's a donkey kick.
Kangaroo kick. That
Well-
is something that he has been hyping up, and the crowd went crazy for it. But Cole and MJF hit Davis with a double clothesline, pin and win to become the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. I was very shocked by this. I'm gonna give the match 2.25 stars. It was nothing really special. It went less than 10 minutes. I am a little annoyed to see Aussie Open have to drop the tag team titles just to advance this storyline. My thing is, Tony Khan has been blessed with such a great tag team division, not just in AEW, but in Ring of Honor. But he hasn't really been focusing on tag team wrestling. He's like more about putting these odd pairings together. And it just feels like very neglectful of the tag team division.
I mean, tag team wrestling's been kind of neglected in wrestling for years and years and years. I mean, aside from the FTR and Young Bucks match that we'll talk about, AEW's tag team division, I'm sorry to say, it's not like as great as everybody says it is. It used to be awesome, but nowadays it's like, you're absolutely right. The Better Than You Bebe, the blind eliminator tournament, just putting a bunch of randos together. Like, I get what you're saying.
See,
but
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying too. And it's not like WWE is lighting up the world with tag team wrestling right now, but I just feel like both companies, it doesn't have to be this way.
No,
it can be easily corrected by Tony Khan giving more attention to the tag teams and Triple H bringing in more tag teams to the WWE. I feel like there's a lot of tag teams sitting in NXT right now that could really
offers a pain. What?
Yeah, there's a lot of tag teams on the indies that Triple H could sign. And I feel like if you added 4 tag teams, and that might be going a little too far, 4 tag teams to each brand, they could easily justify having 2 sets of tag team titles. And with AEW, I feel like Tony Khan has no excuse. He's got the Lucha Bros. He's got Aussie Open. He's got the Kingdom. He's got Private Party. He's got a newly reformed Santana and Ortiz. He's got so many tag teams just sitting doing nothing right now. He had a whole
Blackpool Combat Club is a tag team. The Ass Boys, the Acclaimed.
Yeah, the Acclaimed. You know, they had so many tag teams that they were able to make trios titles that we'll get into later tonight. But yeah, that was a little bit of a tangent on the tag team division. But I feel like this is just to advance the story. Who knows how long MJF and Cole will hold on to these tag team titles? But up next is a hold up.
The only thing missing from this match, and I've been waiting a long time to make this joke, Tomas. The only thing that would have made this better is if it were a ladder match. You know why? Because they would
know exactly what you're going with.
The Aussie, climb, climb, climb.
That was a stupid chant, and you know it.
It was not a stupid chant. Like, me and the Australian guys sitting behind us at a Super Card of Honor, we started that chant during the ladder match, and it was just annoying the hell out of Tomas. And I'm like, hey.
Well, yeah, because they were marks for Aussie Open, and that's okay because I'm a mark for Aussie Open.
Yeah, but you weren't chanting for them to climb and win the tag titles.
I did, but I didn't want to do it as much as you guys were because it wasn't that good of a chant.
It was a great chant. I don't know what you're talking about. It was a great chant.
We're on to a very polarizing match for a lot of reasons. And, oh, man, me and Zack thought we were done talking about this, but we're not. It is Hook challenging Jack Perry in an FTW rules match for the FTW title. To catch everybody up, during our Forbidden Door review, Jack Perry had turned heel after failing to win the NJPW Heavyweight Championship from Sonata, turning on his best friend Hook. He would drop the Jungle Boy gimmick. He would defeat Hook for the FTW title on an episode of Dynamite. And he's just adopted this whole new personality. No more Jungle Boy, no more Tarzan Boy. He's serious now. He's a douche. He's taking after his dad, Christian Cage. Which, if you want to say that, then Jack Perry's dad isn't dead. He's got Christian Cage now.
We'll get to Christian Cage later. It's almost like Jungle Boy is doing the Randy Orton Legend Killer shtick, but he's only using it on former ECW people. Because there was a whole thing where he gets in Jerry Lynn's face, and because Jerry Lynn has a bum back and he can't wrestle. Because we would have gotten Jack Perry and Jerry Lynn if Jerry Lynn wasn't injured. But he's like, I know somebody who used to be in ECW who I know would love to get his hands on you, Jack. Rob Van Dam makes his entrance out to Walk by Pantera. Jack Perry wrestles RVD on Dynamite. Everybody was saying RVD looked like he was, he hadn't missed a step. But I mean, yeah, Jack Perry retains and leads to this match against Hook, which I mean, this was the foregone conclusion. This is where they were going. Uh, he turned on Hook at Forbidden Door. Everything
Um,
building up to this moment. Jack Perry taking Hook's father's title away from him and him basically claiming that he's going to retire the FTW championship at Wembley Stadium. Um, Here we
I
are,
thought this
Extreme
was a
Rules.
Yeah, I thought this was a fairly decent match. They did a lot of brawling on the stage. And you know what? We're going to address the elephant in the room now
Yeah.
because there was a really cool spot. And I didn't think of anything of this. As much as I am involved in pro wrestling, I love reading about pro wrestling. I feel like some of the big stories, if you're on the internet, you can't help but avoid them. You can't, you can't avoid them. But this was a story. And when this spot happened, I had no fucking clue what it was referencing to. So, Jack Perry is on his limousine, which he got drawn out to the ring, and he delivers a brain buster on the windshield to Hook. And after he delivers the spot, he knocks on the windshield. He slaps on the windshield, looks at the camera,
It
and
might have been before.
says,
It might have been before the Brainbuster.
"Well, I remember this was after the windshield was broken, so I think it was." Oh no, I know Perry performed a spot on Hook on there, and then Hook was the one who countered
Yeah,
with
Hook
the
was the
brainbuster.
one who broke the windshield on Jack Perry, and that's what ended up giving Hook the Hook the big win. But
So Perry slaps the windshield. He looks at the
yes,
camera and says, "It's real glass. Cry me a river." And I had no fucking clue what he was talking about.
yeah,
We're gonna hold on to that thought. Action spills back into the ring. Hook is able to put on the red rum. I always want to call it the Hook mission, just because he has a son. He locks in red rum to win back the FTW championship.
it's
Something
the
I
Red
was
Rum.
very shocked. I was very shocked, honestly, to see Hook regain the championship. I thought this would just be a good way. A title, it would be a good title for Jack Perry to carry that isn't a real title because it's not officially a sanctioned title by AEW. But with all of these titles being taken up by other storylines, I feel like Perry needed a championship. So I was very surprised to see him drop it this quickly. But honestly, I feel like Hook should just retire the FTW title at this point.
Yep.
It's his dad's title. He has been holding on to that championship in his dad's name for so long. So I really see no point in the FTW title to continue, especially if there's no lineage after this. But it was a fun match. I'll give it 2.5 stars. It was a fun little hardcore match. But unfortunately, nobody's talking about the match.
Nope.
They are talking about the
Okay.
segue from this match into the opener.
Into
and
the
before we get
opener.
into what happened here, it's very important that we talk about what the opener is. It is Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor television champion, challenging CM Punk for the real world's championship.
So
Why
basically,
am I using air quotations, Zach?
basically, CM Punk pulled the gimmick out of the red bag that he was going on and on about on Collision. And it's basically the AEW replica title belt that he never lost last year. And he sprays his signature X that he usually puts on his wrist tape on the center plate. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm cool. This is like the NWO, the real world title," which essentially equates to he's created a fake belt for himself. So essentially, it's the TNA Legends Championship all over again. And you never want to be the TNA Legends Championship. You never, unbelievable stroke of this guy's ego. But
So I know I said at the Forbidden Door review that I was going to be reviewing CM Punk stuff very, what's the word, unbiased, just kind of shooting straight because I was so tired of talking about this guy. I'm
I
tired
knew
of
it wasn't
complaining
going to
about him.
last. I knew that wasn't going to last.
Well, no, here's the thing. And I was not going to continue harping on my hatred for Punk because I just felt like it was a waste of my energy and it felt like it didn't deserve my energy. So, and here we are, one pay-per-view later, and something happens that we have to bring attention to. And
Yep.
that's right before this match started in Gorilla. So, Zach, I want you to go into the background of why this even happened because, again, I did not see the story online because I didn't care to.
Okay. So Jack Perry was going to have a match on Collision, and he pitched to use real glass in this Extreme Rules hardcore match. CM Punk, of all people, says, oh no, you can't do that. We don't do real glass here. Who is CM Punk to say that? It's not his match. It's not like he's an agent backstage. It's not like he's putting the matches together or anything. That's not really his business. Jack Perry, like, you know, he can... AEW, it's like... Why did Jon Moxley come over to AEW? All about the creative freedom. And it's almost like Jungle Boy was being shackled at that point. So, to that extent, yeah, with Jungle Boy's outbursts during his match, I can understand where he's coming from, but this was the opportunity for CM Punk to be the better man about it. This was the opportunity for CM Punk to, you know, just push it aside, not let it bother him. But I guess what happened is Jack Perry, you know, and CM Punk got into a little scuffle backstage, and
that's why Perry slapped the windshield, because he was taking a shot at Punk on air, saying it's real glass, Crimea River.
Yeah, it's real glass, Crimea River. Punk, I guess, was putting Perry in a chokehold. Samoa Joe, who was there, actually tried to break up the fight because he knew that Punk was going to go out for the opener and they were going to wrestle this dream match together, like years and years in the making, rematches from their Ring of Honor epics. And then it almost got to a point, Punk almost breaks his ankle. What the fuck happens if Punk breaks his ankle right before the show goes on the air, right before he wrestles this opener in front of the biggest crowd in wrestling history? Like, it puts Tony Khan in a bit of a pickle, doesn't it? All over again.
So I want to talk about this whole thing now, because not only do I not want to go back to it, but I feel like it's good to get all the details now instead of breaking it up. So Zack just laid out everything. They got into a fight. There have been many sides of the story. There have been sides saying that Perry was the instigator. There have been sides saying that Punk is the instigator. I don't really care who instigated this. They are both in the wrong. But, you know, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of shit given to me just because I don't like CM Punk. Let me get this out of the way right now. Jack Perry is a little shit. Jack Perry is very disrespectful. And Jack Perry needs to get smartened up a lot. So he's a dumb kid and he needs to learn a lot. So he's in the wrong. He needs to be punished in any sort of way Tony Khan finds, you know, appropriate.
Well, I heard rumors, sorry to cut you off, that he wants to get fired. Like, he doesn't like it over there anymore.
I'm hearing about that too, and I feel like that's a different, totally unrelated aspect. I feel like Andrade did the same thing. Like, he got into a fight with Sammy Guevara just so he could get fired. And it's just like, these guys are begging to get fired, and that's a bad thing.
It's out of control. It is out of control.
They're both in the wrong, but CM Punk should fucking know better. It's been 1 year since he started all of this shit last year at Brawl Out, and now there's Brawl In. After all of the shit he caused, after he embarrassed the company on the media scrum, after he got into a fucking fight with the Elite backstage, after being injured and suspended, and you know what, they shouldn't have brought him back. But Tony Khan, out of the kindness of his heart, because he's a fucking mark, brought CM Punk back to the company, made a whole fucking show for him, made a soft brand split for him. I swore this guy off forever unless it was on pay-per-view, just for him to turn around and not to be a fucking adult. And just, you know, he could have done a million things. He could have just brushed it off. He could have waited till after the match. But the fact that he embarrassed himself and the company again, I'm sorry. Punk, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Bro, like, I've been hearing so many, like,
out.
backstage problems with CM Punk, and fucking Miro, of all people, after this altercation, approaches CM Punk and is like, hey, this is bullshit. You know, Jack Perry wasn't the instigator. And Punk is like, would you like to step outside? Do you have a problem with me? To Miro, of all people. Miro would kick his ass.
Like, that was being reported that it was a joke.
Oh, yeah. No, I was reading a joke that Jeff Hardy went up to CM Punk about, like, hey, you know where the bathroom is? And Punk's like, yeah, what? Do you want to fight in there? And Jeff's like, no. No, I just need to take a shit.
The Punk and Miro stuff was reported, but it was like wrapped up. They spoke to Miro, and Miro said, yeah, they talked, but it was a joke. Mm-hmm. there have been reports that CM Punk lunged at Tony Khan, screamed at him, and said that he quit. Tony Khan, grow a set of fucking balls and fire this guy.
Yeah.
Could you imagine anyone in the WWE lunging at Vince McMahon? Yeah, somebody did do it one time. His name is Nails. He hasn't been in the business since.
Yeah. Well, Brock Lesnar also threw the Universal title at Mr. McMahon after Mania 34, and Mr. McMahon had no set of balls either to not fire Brock
But that's
after
Brock
that.
fucking Lesnar.
Yeah.
This is skinny, fat ass CM Punk.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man.
But
we're not talking a lot about this match, really, because
I want to wrap up everything about this, get all my thoughts out. Hopefully, this is not going to be the last time we talk about this fucking asshole, but I want to get all my thoughts about, and I want to get everyone up to speed. And I know we're late to the party. Like,
no, of course.
Video.
Yeah.
But Punk and Perry have both been suspended, and the whole thing is under investigation. Again, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. CM Punk is not worth the headache. CM Punk is a washed up has-been. You have 700 million other wrestlers in this company that you could use over him. Fucking fire his ass. I never want to hear his fucking name ever again. CM Punk, get the fuck out of our business. When I first said this, I was low-key joking. This time, I have never been more serious in my fucking life.
So much so that a lot of good mic work streams, Tomas has been like, go away, Phil. Go away, Phil. Fuck you, Phil. But in any case, Joe and Punk.
Punk versus Joe for the Real World Championship.
They walk out there, they make their entrances, and both of them look pissed just because they just went through all this altercation. Joe is the peacemaker because he knew that this is the biggest crowd he's ever wrestled in front of, and he has to deal with this drama.
Yeah, even bigger than WrestleMania. This man squashed Rey Mysterio in 60 seconds at WrestleMania 35, and this crowd right now is the biggest crowd he has wrestled in front of.
And in a fucking miracle, Samoa Joe carries CM Punk to actually a pretty enjoyable match in hindsight.
I did enjoy this match a lot. Joe was making me laugh throughout the entire match. There's this great fucking spot where Punk tries to go for a Hurricane Run on the outside. Joe catches him, and then, Punk still tries to do the Hurricane Rana, but he's dangling. Joe takes this motherfucker and slams him into the side of the announce table, breaks the underside. Punk goes careening through the side of the announce table, and Joe turns to him and flips him off. Joe just represented the entire audience that night.
Yep. And that was actually a pretty clever way to set up a blade job for CM Punk, because the underside of the announce table completely masks up the fact that he's gigging himself down there. It's a pretty little clever setup there. I'll give credit for that. Punk was the crowd for the most part was booing him, and he was going through the John Cena motions. He was doing John Cena's moveset right before the 5-knuckle shuffle, and then he goes
blocks, the protoplex, and he goes for the shuffle.
He hits the Hogan leg drop too. Joe kicks out at one. Joe kicks out at one. And Hulk Hogan probably was backstage hey, brother, go to Hulk of Hell, dude. You had him
Hogan was totally backstage, because I'm pretty sure he's going to say that in a future interview, that he was backstage at Wembley.
Yeah.
So
come on, dude. I wrestled at Wembley Stadium at SummerSlam '92, dude.
Funny how he never brought up who he fought at Wembley Stadium.
No, never.
But
never, dude. I fought myself. I'm Hulk Hogan, brother.
Fucking delusion that Punk has to think he has John Cena heat. The delusion.
He's trying to become what he hates. He's a hypocrite, but
Punk is not polarizing. Cena was polarizing because you had an opinion on him. You either thought he was a great worker, or you thought he was old and stale. But here's the thing. The reason why people dislike Cena is because the way he was being presented, nothing about his content of character. But we hate CM Punk because we know he's a fucking douchebag in real life. It's blurring the lines. Cena stuff was mostly kayfabe, but Punk stuff is just really pulling back the curtain. So the fucking delusion that this guy is going to do Cena's moveset and think, oh yeah, I'm doing this because I'm just like John Cena. Half the crowd loves me, half the crowd hates me. It's not the same thing. It's apples and oranges, buddy.
God, I'm sick of this guy. Let's just end this. So Joe and Punk wrestle for a bit. Punk actually pins Joe with the Pepsi plunge, which, cool, whoop-de-doo. You got a 280-pound man and you hit a pedigree off the top and you pinned him. CM Punk holds up his Legends Championship and he leaves Wembley Stadium. Um,
All things considered, I'm gonna give this match 3 3/4 stars. It was very fun. I thought they paced it very well, and I will say Joe did carry the match. And Joe is just a fucking joy to watch.
oh, Joe's great. Joe's always been great. I
Samoa
can't wait
Joe is
to
like
watch his match with
one of
Shane
my favorite
Taylor.
people in the business.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yes. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah. That's gonna be a hoss fight and a half.
Anytime you put Joe up against another Haas, it's like so good. But he definitely carried this match. I'm gonna give it 3.5. Definitely enjoyable in hindsight, but yeah, I mean, even if it was just nothing on the line advertised, just advertised CM Punk versus Samoa Joe in a dream rematch, probably would have gotten the fans behind it a lot more. But the fact that they marketed this for the real world's title probably rubbed a lot of people.
I wasn't
the
treating
wrong
it
way.
like a world title match at all. And
No,
here is
because
I'm
it
gonna
was the
flip the switch
opener.
to I'm gonna flip the switch to unbiased mode for a second. I have noticed in Punk's run since he came back, Punk is good if you put him with the right opponent.
Yes.
Samoa Joe is 100% the right opponent.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Well, I mean, because, you know, Punk and Joe wrestled millions of times back in the day before Punk went to the Fed. But yeah, let's just go ahead and move on. Next up is a 6-man tag team match, playa. It's going to be the Bullet Club, made up of Jay White, Juice Robinson, Bullet Club Gold, and Konosuke Takeshita versus the Golden Elite, Kota Ibushi, Hangman Adam Page, and Kenny Omega. Oh my god, that must have been fucking awkward to have Omega and Page follow directly after a Punk match, huh?
Apparently, when Punk was quitting for Tony Khan ran up to everybody in this match and said, "Hey, do you guys mind going on first instead?" So these guys were probably just like, hey, they're fucking adults. And they're like, hey, yeah, we'll do whatever. I don't know what the fuck's up with this Chicago baby.
Yeah, but they go out there and fucking, I think Jim Ross was the one who called Kota Ibushi a kid. And then I searched Kota Ibushi on Wikipedia and I was like, fucking 41 years old? Get out of here. Get out of here. He's not a kid.
Right. Also, JR asked in this match, why is everything gold?
Why is everything gold? Why are the Ass Boys with Bullet Club Gold now?
Hey, let me tell you this right now. The Ass Boys are doing very well for themselves in this faction. They're like, it's like a perfect fit. They fit like a glove. They're getting so much exposure.
Which is good, you know. I mean, I don't know if I want an Ass Boy to expose himself to me right now, but
here's the thing. If they were to put the tag team titles on them now, it would make a lot more sense than when they did it when they took them off the Acclaim.
Yeah, and then they just drop him to FTR, and FTR's been the champion ever since. Don Callis, of course. Don Callis, of course, was on commentary for this. Piece of shit, Don Callis.
This match was good, but it was too long.
Yeah, how
20
long?
minutes for a 6-man tag?
20 minutes, fucking hell, man.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, you have your traditional Omega Hangman spots in this. It's not really anything you haven't seen before. Kota Ibushi, I thought, looked really good. Omega doing Snapdragon suplexes on both White and Juice Robinson. And I said this even when Jay White was making his entrance. Do you think he's starting to regret his decision to sign with this promotion now?
I honestly think no, because even though he could be on a higher position on this card, I think he's with his buddies. He's with his New Japan buddies, so he probably feels right at home.
Yeah,
the
touche.
real MVP of this match, honestly, was Konosuke Takeshita.
Yes.
He has just grown so well into this role, and I did not think he was going to be this over as a heel.
He's a great heel.
He is just flourishing. Just the fact that he comes out to that non-existent theme music with Don Callis at his side, and he has more heat than almost anyone on the AEW roster, and that is phenomenal.
He's presented like Don Callis's assassin now. I think that's really freaking great. Takeshita and Omega mix it up, and they are going to be wrestling it All Out this weekend, which I think will be a fantastic one-on-one match to blow off the feud. Takeshita jumping knee on Kota. Page with a buckshot lariat to the back of Takeshita. Omega going crazy with V-triggers. Takeshita then rolls up Kenny Omega with a big, gigantic handful of tights, and Takeshita goes over. Takeshita in this.
My least favorite fucking finish in the world.
You don't like the roll-up of death finisher?
Fucking hate the surprise roll up. See, the handful of tights made it a little better because he's a heel. But just like when we get to our Backlash 2005 review, I'm gonna have the same exact complaint. I fucking hate the surprise roll up, especially when it's a really competitive match and it could end by a plethora of different kinds of moves. I'm gonna go with the fucking roll up.
You could hit it with the switchblade finish. You could hit it with a one-winged angel. You could end it with a buckshot.
Lariats.
Yeah.
Takeshita was hitting a plethora of different kinds of suplexes. It's just.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just this past year, I have grown so just like to the roll-up finish. When you have so many, like back 15 years ago, sure.
You're numb to it now.
It's so different. Numb to it.
It's different with Kurt Angle sneaking a win on Chris Benoit at Mania X7, huh?
It's different when Eddie Guerrero has such a plotted execution to, untying of the boot, and that leads to a small package. There's a difference between that and, here's a power bomb, here's a dragon suplex, here's a blue thunder bomb, and then it's just going to end with a jackknife. Way to take the wind out of my sails. I'm going to give this match 3.25 stars. It was fun. It was fine.
I'll go 3.5. I'll go 3.5.
I feel like this is the one instance that this match was only here to advance the Omega Takeshita match for this Sunday.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think Omega and Takeshita are going to put on a freaking banger in Chicago. I think that's going to be a great match. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Definitely.
Omega and Takeshita should go on last on Sunday.
You think so?
I think so.
You know, I'm reading up and I'm looking on stuff like DraftKings. I think Cassidy and Moxley might go on last. If I'm being honest.
I'm okay with that too.
With
huge rub.
Well, with MJF not defending the AEW World Title, I don't know who does go on last. It's very possible that MJF and Adam Cole could be defending the ROH World Tag Team titles in the main event, but
no, they won't.
I don't know.
Because they're defending against Dark Order.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Nothing against Dark Order, but they haven't been on TV in months. They're not going to main event a pay-per-view.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so up next, speaking of tag teams, Tomas is going to have a hot take on this one.
I don't know why I'm sounding like a ghost. It's
what
FTR.
The fuck are you doing?
I don't know. It's FTR, Dax Harwood, and Arn Anderson's disciple, Cash Wheeler, defending the AEW tag team titles against the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. Why aren't you questioning why I said Arn Anderson's disciple?
God damn it.
Cash Wheeler has been listening to Arn Anderson lately, and he pulled that Glock right out on that guy.
It sure did. Sure did. FTR now stands for Fear the Revolver. One of the best fan signs I think I've ever seen in my life. Sorry,
no,
Cash,
my favorite was in the opener. CM Punk, best in the world at being a bitch. That man,
this
knew what was up.
This London crowd was on fire. I mean, even though these people were flocking to Wembley Stadium from all over the world, i.e. Denise Salcedo, Brian Alvarez, Sean Ross Sapp, I feel like was there, but literally during the buy-in, there was an interview going on, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, how does it feel being from England and being here for this big event?" And then they were like, "Dude, I'm from Arizona," and I'm like.
Yeah.
I mean, point being, this crowd was on fire, but Fear the Revolver just might have been my favorite sign that I saw.
Anywho, this was a good tag team title match.
I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as their Full Gear 2020 match, which I rated 5 stars.
It was good.
It was just good.
It was just good. And I'm going to say something that I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with.
Here we go.
I don't think FTR and the Bucks have good chemistry. I don't feel like they've ever had good chemistry.
Yeah.
That match that you gave 5 stars, I think I gave it 3.5 because it went too long. And here's the thing. The Bucks are a very controversial tag team. Zack, I know they're your favorite tag team in AEW.
Yep.
They're not my favorite tag team in AEW, but I don't hate them. I think they're fine. I think they put on good matches. Do I understand why people don't like the Bucks? Yeah, because if I'll say one thing about the Bucks, they have almost no sense of psychology. They are just
Yeah.
they wrestle their style, and if their style clashes with another team style, they're not going to kind of like reconfigure themselves to fit into that. And I feel like FTR and the Bucks wrestle two completely different styles,
Well,
and their
yeah.
styles clash.
FTR, like, since day one, have been about no flips, just fists. And it feels to me like every time they come across the Young Bucks, they have to change up their style, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I love when wrestlers have to evolve to cater to their opponent's needs and find ways to figure out how to beat their opponent. Cash
But
Wheeler does.
remember
Go ahead.
our WrestleMania review when I said Eddie and Ray wrestle two completely different styles, but Eddie has such a perfect, counter to all of Ray's offense that it works. But I feel like it doesn't do it here, and I don't think it's FTR's fault. I think it's just the Bucks aren't adapting to FTR style, like they're
Sure.
not meeting FTR halfway, and it just leads to a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of just weird psychology throughout this match. And I know that may sound weird when I gave the Bucks and the Lucha Bros 5 stars because I thought the psychology and the storytelling of that match was fucking off the charts.
God,
But
man.
just here, every time the Bucks and FTR wrestle, it's just like, yeah, this is good. But if the Bucks met FTR halfway, it can be a lot better.
Oh,
That's all
yeah.
I'm saying.
I do appreciate as they get closer to the end of the match that they were doing the stolen finishers trope, which I absolutely love. Matt Jackson is hit with a shatter machine, and yes, they are not calling it the Big Rig anymore. They are reverting back to the shatter machine name, which I love.
Big Rig.
It's Shatter Machine. Shatter
Big Rig.
Machine.
There's nothing wrong with the Big Rig.
I know there's nothing wrong with the Big Rig, but like it's the Shatter Machine. It's such a cool name. And for the move that they're pulling off, like Shatter Machine fits it better. I'm sorry, but they hit Matt with the Shatter Machine. I know it's debatable, but Matt kicks out without any problem. Kicks out without any problem whatsoever. And then the Bucks hit their own Shatter Machine on Dax. Bucks hit a BTE trigger on Cash. Really good near falls towards the end of the match. I'm not going to deny this. Like, the crowd was on the edge of their seat. There were points where I was thinking the Bucks would win. Tomas was looking at me like, oh my God, he's way into this. And I'm like, yeah, it's FTR and the Bucks. They're two
I
great
thought
teams.
the third act of the match got really exciting, and I was convinced that the Bucks were going to beat FTR for the championships. But yeah, and then it counters into another shatter machine to Nick. And Cash Wheeler actually gets the pin when we were scared that Cash Wheeler might take the pin.
Oh.
But if there's one thing I have learned about AEW and Tony Khan is that they're not WWE and they're not going to punish you for making a mistake. We can make fun of Wheeler all we want. Yeah, there's a huge difference there. We're going to make fun of Wheeler. We're going to make fun of Wheeler. It's just too funny of a situation. But I don't think this mistake warrants him getting embarrassed in front of the biggest crowd in his career for making a simple mistake that has nothing to do with the business. Like, it's a slap on the wrist. So, Wheeler, consider yourself lucky.
Well, we're going to joke about it. We are going to joke about it.
We're going to joke about it.
Yeah,
the revolver.
The next big feud FTR should get into is against the Guns for ironic purposes, but that's what should happen. Book it. But no, it was
3.5 stars. It was all right. It was fine.
I'm gonna go 3 3/4. Definitely not as good as their Full Gear match from 2020 where the Bucks beat FTR. If you want the best of the two teams, yeah,
I like this match more than I did that match.
Really?
I thought that match in 2020 went way too fucking long.
Oh, dude, that match is an epic. It's a classic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I love it. It was all right. What do you mean it was all right?
It was a great match. You know what? That 2020 match, I liked that match more than I liked Edge versus Randy Orton and Vengeance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Edge and Randy Orton was a good match. It's the greatest wrestling match ever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking right.
This is interesting though. FTR goes for a handshake with the Bucks. The Bucks, knowing that these guys are friends with CM Punk, actually just walk away and they don't shake their hands. But I don't know if this is gonna lead into anything. Yeah,
I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
That's how much That's how much no chemistry these two teams had. That happened, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anything else happen with these teams.
Well,
I
now
want
they're
FTR to move on to better opponents.
Well, apparently they are, because they're actually teaming with the Bucks in an 8-man tag match against, ironically, the Guns, Jay White and Juice Robinson in an 8-man tag. I mean,
the Bullet Club Gold, aka the Bang Bang Gang. And I know a lot of people that enjoy saying the Bang Bang Gang.
aka NWO.
Don't wear it out, please.
Tag. The Bang Bang Gang? Well, where's Cactus Jack in that stable? That doesn't make any sense.
Please don't wear out that name, guys. It's a cool name. Please don't wear it out.
You can't call it the Bang Bang Gang unless Cactus Jack is in there, sir. You can't do it. Okay.
Up next is something very interesting.
Shit's about to hit the fan. Shit is about to hit the fan here. So, we have the Blackpool Combat Club, Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler teaming up with Santana and Ortiz, who are reunited. They are going up against the best friends,
reluctantly,
Orange Cassidy, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Eddie Kingston in Stadium Stampede, baby. I was so excited for this. Like, just because during the pandemic era, we had 2 Stadium Stampede matches. The original Stadium Stampede just might be my favorite AEW match of all time. Unironically, I love that fucking thing. It's so funny. But the second Stadium
Ready
Stampede...
for me to pull out the joke? Ready for me to pull out the joke?
You want to...
What's the difference between a Stadium Stampede match and an Anarchy in the Arena match?
The venue! The venue! Yep, there you go. There you go.
I will say, and this is my only issue with this match, people were saying that they really liked this match because there was no jokes.
I loved it.
There was no comedy. There was no, like, bullshit. That's what I loved about the last Stadium Stampede matches. I like that they were silly. I like that they went so crazy in 2020 because, you know, it was 2020. That Hangman Adam Page rode in on a fucking horse. I love that Adam Page and Kenny Omega shared a glass of milk and a beer at the bar. I loved that Sammy Guevara did a fucking standing moonsault on the football field.
I loved 100 yards of suplexes and Matt Jackson scoring a touchdown and him getting penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct after he celebrates with the Alex Wright dance. Like,
I loved
it.
Jericho challenging the play with Aubrey Edwards. I love Jericho giving the Jaguars mascot a fucking Judas effect. I love that.
I love Santana and Ortiz reacting to Broken Matt Hardy's matter of facts graphics popping up on the screen.
Yeah. So when people were saying, "Oh, I love that there was no jokes," like, no, this just makes. We literally just saw an Anarchy in the Arena match, and this was literally the same thing. Like, I know AEW loves these matches and they're very good, but it's just like...
Not entirely, because you have an added element of one Orange Cassidy. And I've wanted to see Orange Cassidy in one of these chaotic matches for a long time. And
yeah, sure, but it doesn't change the fact that it's the same formula. It doesn't matter who you have in the match. Like,
right. But Orange Cassidy's gimmick is that he's lazy, you know? So he goes in there and it's like... I love the fact that Orange Cassidy makes his entrance and he gets all this big, gigantic, beautiful pyro on the outside of the stadium, which looks fucking wonderful, might I add. And then it cuts back inside of the stadium and it's just your traditional, bloop, just one sparkler. Just right next to him.
And here's the thing, that's great. And yes, Cassidy made this match really good, but it's not like you take him out of the equation and it's just the same fucking kind of match. Like AEW loves doing these crazy hardcore matches every single pay-per-view, and it's like, imagine every SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania, there was a Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
Kind of take, like, you know, the special feeling you got every January when there was a Royal Rumble match. And it's like, these are cool, but they're like making up more excuses to do these multi-man hardcore matches. And not that I say I didn't enjoy this. I enjoyed this a lot. I thought it was very good. Good Lord,
man.
But then I remembered we literally just got this at Forbidden Door.
John Moxley. I should have put a timer on like the John Moxley blade job, because it feels like, once again, this motherfucker bleeds within seconds of the bell ringing. They go in there and then Moxley has some skewers, some barbecue
fucking
skewers.
Gross.
Yeah.
Fucking gross.
He's going to dig them into Penta's skull. Penta reverses it and Mox has these skewers sticking out of his head. And I'm like, God damn. God damn.
Look, Barbed wire. Okay. Thumbtacks. All right. Broken glass. Okay. All these hardcore stuff that I grew up with. Sure. All this stuff. I start, not getting squeamish, but I start drawing the line at like fluorescent light tubes, all that deathmatch stuff. Not really a big deathmatch guy, but tell me on what planet or in any circumstance that you feel the need to stick wooden skewers in your head to the point where they are sticking out.
I'm sure Terry Funk was asked that question many times throughout his 79 years on this planet, and I don't even know if... Yeah.
It was fucking disgusting. And I
Yeah.
don't think they ever need to do that.
I can't deny that.
Unnecessary.
I think Terry Funk would have been very proud of this match, just because of how brutal
in order
it was.
to lighten the mood, yeah, and in order to lighten the mood, I guess you can call this Moxley kebab.
Fucking hell. And then as Renee Young, I'm sure, is watching this match having a fucking stroke.
Renee Paquette.
I know what I said. Mox then pulls out a fork. Because again, in these Moxley hardcore matches, you have to have a fork involved. He starts digging he digs it into Orange Cassidy's head, and I'm gonna let you make this joke.
I will make the joke, but I just remember because Cassidy, I think he puts his hands in the pocket, and Moxley pulled out a fucking fork, and the look on Cassidy's face like, this motherfucker gonna eat me.
But Moxley literally,
turns Cassidy into a blood orange.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going. I thought you were going to say he's literally freshly squeezed.
No, I made the blood orange joke when we were watching it, so...
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I forgot about that then. So I was
this is going to sound so fucking random, but remember the 24/7 title segment where they all got trapped in the elevator, and then EC3 randomly grabbed a fork and was like, looks like we're going to have to eat each other. It reminded me of that for some reason. That Moxley is always carrying around a fork, and he looks at that like, I'm just going to fucking eat you.
Fucking hell, man. I can't even envision EC3 in one of these, but you know who was really fucking impressive in this match was Trent. Trent was putting in the work.
Trent Beretta has been very hardcore lately.
Yeah.
And you can't say this man is not putting in the work. I thought he was the most underrated worker in WWE back in like 2010, 2011. Mm-hmm. And to see him on this such big stage and he's still like signed to a huge wrestling company just makes me smile.
Yeah, Trent was bleeding pretty early on in the match after he was put through a barbed wire board. Claudio, of course, is paired off with Eddie Kingston, still fucking feuding with that guy. You know, it's not like Eddie Kingston won the ROH World title. It's not like Claudio has any reason to feud with him anymore. But
someone made a really good point. This Sunday at All Out, they should have did Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli, title for title.
They should have. Why not? Why not? Put another big match on this card.
A big moment on pay-per-view. Why do that? Don't fucking do that. He's just the hardest worker on the roster.
Yeah, why would you do that? But Eddie Kingston beats up a planted security guy in a bar backstage, which I thought was pretty funny. Santana and Ortiz powerbombing Trent, Moxley suplexing Trent back first into the barbed wire. I mean, this is just chaotic.
Oh. And then they're up by the stage, and then all of a sudden, Sue Beretta rolls up.
I love this.
Revenge, because Santana and Ortiz fucked her minivan up on an episode of Rampage a few weeks ago, and that kickstarted this whole feud. So
this feud started on Rampage. Holy shit, man!
I think so. Yeah, at least the best friends Santana and Ortiz part. They were like in a parking lot brawl, but Sue brought backup because Trent grabs these cookie sheets full of pastries. And I learned actually that Sue was at the stadium and she baked the entire roster cookies. That is fucking awesome. I hope you all have a mom like Sue Beretta, because she is a fucking saint.
Oh, I've got a mom like Sue Beretta. She brings baked goods all the time, so
I got a mom
good.
Like Sue Beretta.
Yeah,
I've got moms like Stu Beretta. That's what I'm saying. I hope everyone has a mom like Stu Beretta. And she is here to help out her son.
Loud Sue chants in the stadium.
And then that fucking sick fuck John Moxley plants a kiss on her I hope Trent Beretta kicked Moxley right in the cock and balls for that.
Right in the cock and balls. So it's at this point. Oh God. So I don't remember if it was Wheeler that Penta was paired off with, but there is a ladder on the outside. Oh, before we forget, Penta disappears for a short spell because he is changing into Penta Oscuro, Penta Dark. Don't remember any case where that happened mid-match where, you know, they like, yes.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? Penta's dark.
What's the difference?
What do you mean, what's the difference? Penta's just a dark version
There's
of
no
himself.
fucking difference between the two.
He just changed into Penta Red from Penta
It's
Black.
not like if Bray Wyatt, may he rest in peace, disappeared backstage and turned to the Fiend. It's just Penta came out with different ring attire.
Yeah, but Penta is supposed to do like a sunset flip power bomb onto Wheeler Yuta through some tables off of a ladder in the entranceway, right? The problem with this spot is that they picked the worst, most unstable ladder I think ever built in human history.
It's one of those one-sided ladders. One where the steps go up one way and then the other back is literally just a support with no rungs on it.
Yeah, so Penta decides,
climbs up the wrong side.
Mm-hmm. Climbs up literally the wrong side. The wrong side. So of course the ladder fucking caves underneath him and it's fucking scary, but they miraculously pull the spot off and it looks pretty good given what they're working with. I mean, what else can be? This is fucking chaos. This is fucking chaos. I mean, Moxley and Eddie Kingston get into it. They put themselves through a table. And Eddie Kingston is like flipping Moxley the bird, like as they're sitting there in the broken rubble, which is awesome. Orange Cassidy tapes up his fist, pulls out a bucket, and there is a broken beer bottle inside there. And he dips that.
He was juicing himself for a second.
He was. God damn it. So, anyway, just like Ian Rotten and Axel Rotten did in ECW all those years ago in the Taipei Death Match, he dips his fist in there, and there's broken glass on his fist. Hits Claudio with the orange punch, with the glass on it. Orange Cassidy does get the pinfall.
Which is fucking great.
Yes.
I knew I picked the right guy to be my favorite wrestler in AEW, like, in 2020. Fucking Orange Cassidy, at the end of 2023, he better win the award for like most improved or like the hardest worker, because this man has been wrestling on a more consistent basis than anyone on AEW. The fact that he defends his championship on almost a weekly basis, and he's moving on to wrestle Jon Moxley at All Out on Sunday. My thing is, I want Cassidy to retain for very selfish reasons. I'm going to say that right now, because I love his title reign and I don't want it to end. But I feel like this is the perfect place for it to end. And he and Moxley are going to tear the fucking house down.
Yes.
So personally, I want Cassidy to retain. But I have a feeling Moxley's going to win the title. And I'm going to be okay with that. I love Jon Moxley. But Cassidy, my fucking God, what a year he has had. And we're only like not even 3/4 through the year.
He's made that international title so freaking prestigious. He has made that title so prestigious, like just in his reign by itself. It's
so many
unbelievable.
Have won a title and in character have said, I'm going to elevate this title. I'm going to elevate this title. And they end up not doing shit with the title. Orange Cassidy, along with like Gunta, those two. That's a crazy two people to have a comparison to.
Could you imagine a match between those guys?
Oh, well, I literally had a wet dream about it last night. Walter, Gunta and Orange Cassidy are the only two wrestlers that have truly taken a title and have fucking elevated it the way they did.
Yes,
people even said, I don't know if that's a fair comparison, but whose title reign is better, Cassidy or Gunta's? I'm like, that's not a fair comparison, because Cassidy is elevating the title by having banger after banger after banger on a weekly basis. Gunta is elevating the title because he may not have as many title defenses, but look who he has defeated.
Gunther
world champions.
Gunther only has one more defense to get through in the third match with Chad Gable on Raw to break the Honky Tonk Man's record a week from tomorrow at the time of recording. So I love Chad Gable, man, but Gunther needs to win that match. Like, he really does.
And I still think Gable can win the title.
He can, but
anywho,
later. Like, have Gable win it at Fastlane in a stipulation match. But anyway, we're digressing too much. Stadium Stampede, I freaking loved it. 4 stars. It was the best match I saw so far up to this point.
You know what? All things considered, even though I kind of like went on a tangent about this match type, I'm gonna give it 4 stars as well because it was very good. I think I liked it more than Anarchy in the Arena. You know, now that I got a chance to reflect on it.
Super
next
fun.
time they do one of these matches, you know, I want them to save this for like Daly's Place because Daly's Place is not only where this was birthed, but I feel like they only section off so much of the stadium for AEW Dynamite or a pay-per-view. I would just love to see them use more of the stadium. I know it was very hard to do here because the stadium is kind of occupied, and it's kind of ironic because the whole point of the Stadium Stampede was we have this whole stadium with absolutely nobody in it. Let's cause chaos. But here, you know, I get it. You know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, there are a lot of cons to doing these kind of matches, but there's a lot of pros to doing these matches.
I love it. Yeah, it was just pure chaos. Everything you want in a fun hardcore match. But okay, this next match is pretty
going to be awkward.
Why?
This is going to be awkward because this was the weakest match of the night, and it just happens to be the ladies. I love everybody in this match. Let me say this right now. It is Hikaru Shida. Yeah, she is the AEW Women's Champion, defending against Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D., Toni Storm, and the hometown girl herself, Saraya.
Yep. Saraya makes her entrance to We Will Rock You. Of all songs to come out to. And she is accompanied by her entire wrestling family, which is awesome. Awesome. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, she's winning this fucking belt. She's winning this fucking belt tonight.
Who's going to win this match?
Yeah.
But why the fuck is Shida the champion? I'll tell you why. Because Toni Storm randomly defended the title against her like 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, and Shida just won.
Dynamite 200, mind you.
Yeah.
Dynamite 200.
Very random. But I love Shida. And I was actually kind of happy, but just looking at things in hindsight, why?
Yeah, so the story of this match is essentially the eventual breakup of the Outcasts. Because Toni Storm comes out.
Look at this out of the way right now. 9 minutes is not enough time to do a fatal 4-way.
No, it's not. No, it is not.
If you would have taken 6 minutes away from that fucking 6-man tag team match and given it to this match, I think I'd be a little nicer to it.
How about better yet, take CM Punk off the card entirely and give his time to this match?
No, because that means you take Samoa Joe off the card.
Well, I mean, you can have Samoa Joe wrestle on all these other pay-per-views that Tony Khan is putting together too, but
Samoa Joe deserves to be on this show, man.
Yeah, I know he does, but I mean, if CM Punk's going to be his opponent and that's the only thing Tony had for him, like,
imagine if Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor wrestle on the show instead.
Okay.
Fucking great.
Okay, yeah, but Shane Taylor wasn't introduced on TV at all in the build-up to All In, but, you know, we'll see.
Hey, man, don't diss my boy Hugo like that, okay? Y'all have him on speed dial.
You son of a bitch. So Toni Storm comes out with, like, a Marilyn Monroe gimmick now. She's walking to the ring, and her hair is done up like Marilyn Monroe, and she's got her name up on the marquee. It's so freaking dope, and I freaking love it. The whole gimmick of this match was how much of a fuck-up Toni Storm is. Like, because she's doing things...
Oh, my God, I'm sorry. I died for a second thinking about Toni Storm.
It's okay. It's okay. So Toni constantly is screwing things up in a way that Saraya notices. So Toni basically slaps Saraya's mother on accident, and Saraya notices. The crowd starts chanting, "You fucked up" at Toni Storm. And
why can't everyone be like Kofi Kingston on Raw, and he's the first wrestler to ever say, "Hey, I know that was an accident. I'm not mad." This is Saraya. You're right fucking there. You know, Storm didn't slap your mother on purpose.
But the thing is, you don't mess with Paige's mother. So, they eventually, good Lord. So they eventually start going at it. Toni Storm lays Saraya in the corner with the bottom turnbuckle exposed and Toni's going for her hip attack that she does, Umaga style.
Cheek music.
Yeah, I know what I said. Ruby Soho runs out to the ring to try and stop Toni Storm from doing the move, because in Ruby's words, Saraya's neck can be fucked up. Toni Storm goes for it anyway, and Ruby is like, oh, good lord.
It's a standard move. So Saraya, maybe it shouldn't be in this match.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe.
There's a difference if like Storm was trying to Pillmanize her neck. That'd be like, okay, wait, hold on. No. Remember Saraya's neck. But it's a wrestling match. It's a standard wrestling move. If you're scared of that, maybe it shouldn't be in this match. Just saying. Something I just thought of right now.
Yeah. So,
little food for thought.
In any case, Storm headbutts Ruby Soho, and Ruby leaves. Saraya then with a super kick. Britt Baker then starts to make her comeback, and she tries to lock in the lockjaw. While that was going on, Saraya sprays the spray paint, the Outcast spray paint, into Toni's face. Then she hits the nightcap on Toni Storm and pins her.
Hey, where's Shida? Where's the champion? What the fuck is she doing?
I have no idea. And that's a problem.
Why was she champion going into this match? I love Shida, and when she won the championship, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm all down for a Shida run.
Yeah.
But she's just like that's like if in the build to Nakamura versus Rollins, I don't know, fucking Matt Riddle just won the championship out of nowhere.
And then Rollins wins the title back in that triple threat, and Riddle's not even involved in the decision.
Yeah, it's just so weird. Like at first I was like, oh, okay, so Toni Storm doesn't have to take the pin, but she never had to take the pin. And if the whole story of this match was the downfall of the Outcast, wouldn't it have been made more sense if Toni Storm took the pin?
Yeah.
It's all about the implosion. If they were going to do all this stuff with Storm and Soho and have all this dissension, shouldn't they have just did it there? This match
might as well just had it be one-on-one. Like, no disrespect to Britt and Hikaru, but like, goodness gracious, the story was Saraya and Toni Storm. Like, and the dissension of the Outcasts, the breakup of the Outcasts.
You wanted to get Baker, who's like your most over woman on the roster, but she has really lost steam lately. And Shida, who is like your second or third AEW Women's Champion, if they wanted to just give Shida the rub, that's great. Shida could have been in the match, but she didn't need to be champion.
Yeah,
this was
I
all
agree,
about
man.
Saraya and Storm. I thought this match was all right. Just the psychology was all out of whack, and the booking was crazy. I can't give this more than 2 3/4 stars. And I know I'm taking away from the really big fact that Saraya, after being retired 5 years ago, is now winning a championship in a fucking stadium in front of 81,000 people.
Which is fucking awesome.
In her homeland with her whole family there. That's fucking awesome. I'm so happy for Saraya, and I'm so happy she got to experience that moment. Like, not let me take away from that.
But that's another thing, man. I know we always rag on WWE for always having the good guys lose in their hometown, but at the same time, Tony Khan, it seems like with this women's division, is booking things and title changes for the moment rather than the story. Look at Shida. Look at Shida winning a couple weeks ago. That's a milestone episode of Dynamite, arguably the greatest women's champion AEW has ever had, and she wins the title back from Toni Storm. And now she loses it, and she's not even involved in the decision. Like,
and the moment is absolutely amazing, and nothing could ever take that away from Saraya. But where do you go from here? Saraya does not wrestle on a consistent basis.
No.
So I don't know where you go from here. Do you do a one-on-one match with Toni Storm? Do you have Saraya retain? Do you have Toni Storm just win the title back? There's a possibility that Ruby Soho could have won the TBS title on Sunday. And then, there's a power struggle with all the championships. I honestly, it's like that moment in SpongeBob where Mr. Krabs asks Plankton, what now? And he says, I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far. I feel like that's Tony Khan with his booking. So, okay, Saraya won the title. Now what? I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far.
Okay, but after that, After that, what happens? I don't know. What do you want to do? Sounds familiar. Sounds familiar. But okay. Next up, we have another multi-man hardcore style matchup here. A tag team coffin match, which is horrible timing to have a stipulation like this, considering the week we had before. It is Sting and Darby Allin going up against Swerve Strickland and the TNT champion Christian Cage. If you tell me that Luchasaurus is the TNT champion, that is wrong. Luchasaurus is just defending the title. Luchasaurus is just defending the TNT title for Christian Cage because Christian can't wrestle as much. What kind of idiot lets a manager of theirs walk out with their title and let their manager claim that he's a champion? Like, why would they do that? Christian Cage won the title fair and square.
Christian Cage is a champion. He's the TNT champion.
Clearly, because he wore the belt.
He's just tired. He's tired. He doesn't want to defend on Sunday. So Luchasaurus, go be the fun little lackey you are. This match was originally going to be Darby Allin and Sting versus Swerve Strickland and AR Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And then AR Fox couldn't travel. So instead of just taking him out of the match, they turned him babyface after they turned him heel 2 weeks ago.
Great.
Fantastic. Tony Khan. There's this little thing we need to do, and that's called thinking ahead. Just whenever you're going to make a decision, just sit down in your $1 million office, sit down for like 10 minutes and think. Just think.
Long-term booking, booking, please.
Hey, I know you have Triple H's phone number. It's okay to shoot him a quick text.
Hey, how do you do this? How do you do this?
You take AR Fox out of the match.
Yeah.
You do an injury angle.
So,
all jokes aside,
Sting and Darby actually, by the way, they entered to Seek and Destroy, which marked me the F out. Because this is the theme that Sting had in WCW's Dying Days when he was still wearing the crow face paint. I love that song also. It is the song that the San Jose Sharks entered to.
Do they actually
great song.
Seek and Destroy, though?
I mean, it's a coffin match, so I mean, they have to. They have to seek their opponents, and they have to destroy them by putting them in a box, you know?
This match was way more fun than it had any right to be.
It was very fun. It was very, very, very fun. Sting and Christian Cage do a face-off, and the crowd immediately starts chanting TNA.
Fuck is TNA?
Yeah. What the fuck is TNA? Yeah, that sounds like a whole other obscure promotion that doesn't exist.
So I've complained about this a lot, but my complaining is just it's going to turn into pleading at this point. Sting, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to do this. I'm not talking about wrestling. I'm talking about you don't have to jump off of shit anymore.
Yeah, well,
you
Darby
yourself so fucking much.
Darby Allin doesn't have to jump off of shit anymore either, but he still continues.
Apparently he does. Because Darby Allin did a fucking coffin drop onto Swerve Strickland on the coffin, but
he misses.
Strickland moved, and Allin took a flat back bump that would make Mick Foley cringe.
I present to you the coffin flop. You're welcome.
It was disgusting. It
was absolutely gross.
One of the nastiest spots. Every time I say that's the nastiest spot Darby Allin has taken, Darby Allin hears me and says, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
Because I'm going to climb Mount Everest and then do a coffin drop off of it.
So the fake TNT champion Luchasaurus eventually goes out there to interfere. He beats up Darby Allin for a bit. Luchasaurus is defending the TNT title for some reason at All Out against Darby and not Christian. But he goes out there, beats up Darby for a bit. Who evens the odds but young Nick Wayne? Of all people, Luchasaurus would eat this motherfucker alive. He basically, they fight to the back, and it's like, this basically achieved nothing. Like, Luchasaurus was just out there to beat on the show.
All right, best I can do with Nick Wayne.
Yeah, because Edge retired against Sheamus. Yeah, no, and okay. Yeah, we want Edge to reunite with his brother Christian, the TNT champion.
Every time I think Sting is going to lose. So everything is taken care of. Also, Darby Allin has been doing this fucking nasty missile dropkick to the outside and he does it to Christian Cage, and I'm like, what the fuck? So Cage takes out Allin on the outside, and they have this match fucking won. Like, Strickland hits the swerve stomp onto Sting. He puts him in the coffin. He literally takes his time. He slams the lid shut, but no, Sting's back. Sting catches him the nick of time with the baseball bat, and he fights his way out. I'm just like, Sting is fucking ridiculous.
I mean, why did Swerve take so long to close a lid on Sting?
Like, he had the fucking match won, and Sting is
did.
literally a walking version of the meme. Someone call an ambulance, but not for me.
Sting gives Swerve the Scorpion death drop on the coffin. Swerve's hand is still on the outside when Sting tries to close the lid, and a fucking coffin drop that sandwiches Swerve's arm in the lid, and it's just nasty. And Swerve is in the casket, but a little bit of dreadlock still sticking out. The match should still be continuing. Not all of Swerve was in the coffin. Not all of Swerve. All of the dreads should have been shoved in there. Yeah, Swerve was screwed. Swerve was screwed here. But anyway, Sting and Darby win their 19th, like their 20th match as a tag team. But yeah. This was fun.
This was really fun. I think I'm going to give this 3 3/4 stars. This was so fucking fun. Did not think I was going to enjoy this match as much as I did. This was great.
Yeah.
Here's a match that really took me by surprise. But I mean, considering who's in it, it really shouldn't have. It's the New Japan, no, the IWGP United Kingdom champion. You heard me right. Just to be an asshole, he changed it to the UK Championship. Will Ospreay fighting the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, Le Champion, million nicknames man, Chris Jericho. Didn't know what to think of this match going in. It seemed like it was getting a lot of flack online. Like, this really a match we want to see? But then Ospreay and Jericho cut a banger promo against each other on the last Dynamite leading into the show. And the story is basically Don Callis has been trying to recruit Chris Jericho into the Don Callis family. Jericho accepts his offer. Oh, and in the in the build to this, the entire Jericho Appreciation Society, minus Sammy Guevara, has abandoned Jericho, saying, we've been there for you since day one, and now you're going to abandon us to go work for Callis of all people. So they all abandoned him, except Guevara. He said, hey, I'm going to let you handle this on your own, but I'm always going to have your back. But Guevara does accompany Jericho to the ring. Callis is prepared for Jericho to say no, but Jericho ends up saying yes, which leads to this very awkward moment on Dynamite where Callis reveals a photo that he was going to give Jericho, and it's Callis holding up Jericho's severed head. And that makes Jericho very unhappy. Like, really? You were going to fucking cut my head off if I said no? Well, I was going to say yes. Total awkward moment. But Callis 6 Will Ospreay onto Jericho. I think it was a very simple story, and the promo really got it over. And this match, it was nothing near the match him and Kenny Omega had, but this match was pretty good.
It was.
I think Jericho hung with Ospreay pretty well.
I would say it was great, actually. I think this is Jericho's best match in, God, I don't even know how long. Man. Jericho, he still has really good matches at this point in his career, but nowhere near the level he was 20 years ago. I mean, Will Ospreay was going to be doing a lot of the jumping around and a lot of the bumps, obviously, but I mean, Jericho hung with him, man. He really did. And
he did.
This was a great match. It was a really great match. It took me by surprise.
Yeah. Let's not leave out that Chris Jericho performed his own theme song, Judas, with Aussie,
he did.
Walking down to the ring. That was pretty cool. I remember seeing people they were concerned for Jericho. They were like, oh, can Jericho do this? I'm like, he's sang literally the night before, and all he's doing is singing his song while walking to the ring. It's not like he's singing and wrestling at the same time.
Exactly.
And Jericho's a real performer like me and you. He knows how to distribute his stamina. Jericho's fine. He's been doing this for a long time, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. Ospreay looks like $1 million in this match, as he always does. He was able to kick out of a Judas effect as well. How many people in this business can you say kicked out of the Judas effect? That is a very protective finisher. 2. Ospreay and Moxley? Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, say what you want about Jericho and the fact that his finisher is now a back elbow, but That's a fucking protected finisher. Osprey was able to
Uh,
kick out of it.
Osprey also hits that amazing shooting star press while Jericho is draped over the top rope. A lot of the offense that he had in his Forbidden Door match with Kenny Omega reels back here. There's a couple of does Osprey hit Stormbreaker in this match or did he tease it?
He hit two of them. He hit a
He hit two
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreakers.
He hit one Stormbreaker that Jericho kicked out of, and then Osprey hits a hidden blade, and then a second Stormbreaker to put Jericho away after 15 minutes.
But before that, it's really important to point out that, okay, the one thing I didn't like about this match is that, again, psychology, booking was really weird because Jericho, he was babyface for this match. Let's get that out of the way now because this is very pivotal to the story. But
Yeah.
did you really think that booking Jericho as the babyface in London against Will fucking Osprey, you really think that Jericho was going to be more over than fucking Osprey?
No way. No.
Very weird. I get
way.
why they had to do it. It's like it was like going to be the decision that had the least amount of consequences. And Jericho's at the state where he can literally flip flop between face and heel, and it's really not going to make a difference.
It's
But I thought that was really weird.
It's like if he tried to book Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn in Montreal, and the roles were reversed. If he had Roman Reigns be the babyface and Sami was the heel going in. Like,
Yeah, that's a very good comparison.
you know?
But also the babyface was cheating a hell of a lot more than the heel, because during the match, Sammy Guevara hits Will Ospreay with a baseball bat, and that is very important.
I'm gonna give it 4.25.
Wow,
Really great match. Jericho's best match in a long time. Ospreay, I think, is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. It's a good match for Jericho to have at this point in his career. Like, yeah.
I think you liked it a lot more than I did, and I like this match a lot. I'm gonna give it 3.75 stars. It was
Okay.
nowhere near as good as the Omega match, but that match was untouchable. And then someone made a really good point today. Tony Khan, why are you giving yourself a migraine dealing with CM Punk when you have Will Ospreay sitting right in your lap?
Mm-hmm.
Take all of that money that you were spending on Punk and give it to Ospreay and sign him because his New Japan deal is almost up.
Yep. Just
And
make
if
sure
you
he's
don't sign
exclusive.
Ospreay, Triple H fucking will. Just saying.
Yep.
So Tony Khan, time to pull out that checkbook. And if I was Tony Khan, I would secure Ospreay.
Yeah. I mean, Tony's got a lot of contracts coming up. MJF's contract is coming up at the end of the year.
Time to bust out that checkbook, Tony. And take
Yep,
all that
it
money
really
that you're
is.
spending on Punk and give it to guys who deserve it more.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, that's beside the point. I thought this was very good. This is, again, the best match Jericho has had since, God, I don't know how long. He had some good matches with Cassidy. Loved his match with Cody Rhodes for the AEW World Title way back in the beginning. I think his best opponent has been Jon Moxley. But yeah, this is up there with those matches.
Oh, totally. But okay, this is where they announced the attendance. Nigel McGuinness, who was a commentator the entire show, was there to announce the attendance, which is an awesome thing for him. Up next, in terms of in-ring action, it is the House of Black defending the trio's titles against the Acclaimed and Badass Billy Gunn. It should be also noted that House of Black, their graphics had fireflies all over them. The arena lights went down, and there were like 81,035 fireflies out there, which is a sight.
Malachi Black also came out with the lantern, and
that was Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews held up the lantern, yeah. But
House of Black came out with the lantern, and that's when I lost it. Their gear was very reminiscent of not just like the Wyatt family and the Fiend, but I also noticed like little reminiscence of the Bludgeon Brothers in there. So probably a little tribute to Brody Lee as well. That was beautiful, and that's when the commentators took the time to acknowledge Bray Wyatt's death, and that was just probably the classiest thing I've seen on this entire show so far.
Yeah.
The Acclaim come out.
Can I also say that, can we not be freaking tribal and not just come together when somebody fucking dies? Like,
I agree. I 100% agree.
Goodness gracious, just enjoy pro wrestling. I love WWE. I love AEW. I'm just enjoying all of it. So,
the Acclaim come out, and then that's when the announcer, I mean, it is announced that it is house rules, and they give the Acclaim the opportunity to pick the stipulation. They pick a no holds barred match.
I did. It's
Okay.
not like we just had a stadium stampede hardcore match. We didn't just have a coffin style hardcore match, and now we have a straight up traditional hardcore match.
Now I understand. I understand why they did this, because maybe a traditional 6-man tag would have bored the crowd a little, even though in a trios title match, it's kind of like, I feel like, okay, an idea. I feel like the trios titles should always be contended under tornado rules. It's going to turn into one of those anyway.
It is, and it was a pretty fun match, all things considered, as well.
They were given 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean,
the whole story
crazy.
of Daddy Ass basically, coming out of retirement to help the Acclaimed win these trios titles. There was a point where Julia Hart was making her presence known. She squares up to Billy Gunn. She tries to slap him, but Caster and Bowens, my boys, they set her up for Scissor Me Timbers, and Bowens.
And Billy,
It's so funny because I'm just sitting there like, Bowens would not enjoy delivering Scissor Me Timbers here, would he? Like,
no, also Billy Gunn right before this spot tells Julia Hart to suck his dick. And I'm like, what the fuck, Billy? Chill. She's old enough to be your granddaughter. Chill the fuck out, Billy Gunn.
Not gonna make gay jokes right now. Yeah, Julia Hart is 21 years old, dude. Like, yeah. That's freaking crazy. So they hit Scissor Me Timbers on Julia Hart, yes. But they also, it's interesting because they show Mercedes Moné in the crowd watching this match. She is very down with the Acclaimed. If they build a super stable with the Acclaimed and Mercedes, then like that'd be fun, I guess. But I don't know, man. And Tony's gonna have to pull out a big wad of cash to get Mercedes on his roster too.
And considering all the drama that's going on in AEW right now, Tony Khan also needs to be aware that's going to scare off potential talent that's going to come to your roster. But I think Tony Khan has some time there because Mercedes Moné is still very injured. So she's not going to be coming on in anytime soon.
Well, I mean, Triple H might also pull out a big wad of cash to get Sasha Banks back. So...
Who the fuck is Sasha Banks? We're talking about Mercedes Moné.
The possibilities are fucking endless. Mercedes Moné can go and fucking return if she wants to. But, yeah, so... yeah, this is a pretty entertaining match. Billy Gunn hits a Fame Asser on Brody King. Bowens hits an Arrival, and then Caster hits the mic drop on Brody King. And of all fucking people to take the pinfall, it's Brody King. And it takes all 3 members of the Acclaim to pin that bloke. And this is a title reign that lasted since we saw them win the belts off the Elite at Revolution live.
So a very healthy 6-month reign for the House of Black.
Yeah.
Which I think is perfect. A good time to pass off these titles to the Acclaim, because I never thought the Acclaim should have lost the tag team titles to begin with. So this keeps the Acclaim's momentum going. And also, I think it's time not to split up the House of Black per se, but Malachi, King, and Matthews, they can all be single stars on their own. So it's time to start putting some gold on them again, but maybe not as a team.
Yeah, like, all 3 guys are criminally underrated, like just by themselves. So this match was fun. 3 stars. I mean, it's a great feel-good moment and really, really awesome to see the belts go from like an Oppenheimer-style design on the House of Black to a Barbie-style design on the Acclaimed. It's such a great side comparison. Yes, the Acclaimed debut new custom trios title belts, and literally the strap on the back you are able to scissor like with that thing, and they actually
I don't know how I feel about that.
They have scissors drawn on the strap. You should buy it. You're a coward, but
I love the pink strap, and I am not a title mark. Let me get that out of the way right now. Like, I'm not a title mark whatsoever. I am very
he's made that very fucking clear.
Very lukewarm. All jokes aside, I'm very lukewarm when it comes to titles. Like, if you're into them, that's great, but I'm personally am not. The pink strap is really cool. I honestly don't know how I feel about the scissor ends. I don't know. Like, a lot of people saying they love them, and that's great. I don't know. It's just a very unique design choice.
Yeah,
I like it. Say that.
I like it. I hope the Acclaim to get a healthy reign. Those guys deserve the absolute world. I'm going to be rooting for them their whole careers. You know, it was a
I'm
great
gonna give it
moment.
I'm gonna give it 2 3/4 stars. It was a fun match. I feel like this is the second time these guys have wrestled on pay-per-view, and I feel like both times they've really gotten the short end of the stick. And
Hmm.
I just feel like this was your cool down match. Nothing wrong with it, nothing fine. Just, if you would have given these guys like a more prominent role in the card, given them some more proper build. And I know this was all revolving around the fake retirement of Billy Gunn. Uh, yeah, I just
Yeah.
felt like an afterthought this match. It's a shame, but
Hmm.
I think this match accomplished what it needed to accomplish.
Yeah. Speaking of
Now,
accomplishing what it needed to accomplish.
I said at the very beginning of the show, this looked like a WrestleMania feel. It should have been a WrestleMania feel, but it didn't because I feel like a lot of these matches didn't feel special. A lot of these matches were like not thrown together, but were given very little build. And I feel like that's what AEW is missing if they want a WrestleMania feel show. A lot of these matches should have like some passion injected into them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like,
Like
and
this one.
that's like it looked like a WrestleMania show. It just didn't feel like a WrestleMania show. But now that we're here at the main event, this felt like a stadium show main event. And it is the newly won Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions facing off with each other, MJF and Cole, for the World Championship. Now, the last time
Yes.
these guys met, it was as rivals. And they wrestled to a 30-minute time limit draw on Dynamite, in which if Adam Cole won, he would get a World Championship match. Cole begged for 5 more minutes. MJF said no. These two were randomly selected to be tag team partners in the Blind Eliminator. And all of a sudden, this friendship just blossomed
Randomly.
out of nowhere.
They turned into bro chachos for life, and that's what was written on MJF's armband tonight.
And some of the greatest, like, skits outside of the building were produced out of this feud. Some of the best promos were cut in the ring with this feud. And this has all just fell into AEW's laps. And I don't think they
Sure
anticipated this
has.
to be as popular as it did. MJF is the fucking man. He can do everything. He can cut a good heel promo. He can cut a good face promo. He's a fucking good wrestler. He's a great storyteller. He is committed to his craft. Dare I say, we may have found the perfect professional wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Call me crazy. I know that is a bold statement to make, but every single aspect of the business MJF has been handed to, and he has fucking knocked it out of the park.
He really has, man. He goes out there and he has a Triple H WrestleMania 30 style entrance with the crowd singing his shitty YouTube for free theme song. And I fucking loved it. I was sitting there laughing my ass off as the crowd was going.
You
Tomas
say
hated his life. He hated
this
his life.
was a Triple H style entrance. I agree, but this whole match had the feeling of John Cena versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23. And if you go
Yeah.
back to that feud, Cena and Michaels were tag team champions reluctantly
You're
because
right.
Michaels' goal was, I don't want you to get injured prior to WrestleMania. So until WrestleMania, I'm going to have your back. Totally different dynamic with the story, but with the tag team titles being involved in this, Cena and Michaels went into WrestleMania as the World Tag Team Champions. We all know that MJF has taken many chapters out of Shawn Michaels' book when it comes to his selling, when it comes to his wrestling style. But here, it just felt it. I felt that WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, match of the night for me here easily. These two guys went in there and they have like the friendliest match possible. They put on better than you baby t-shirts before they get started wrestling, just so everybody's aware. Even though they're competitors, they are still best friends. So they put on the t-shirts to a loud pop and then they start the match, and it's like, it's MJF and Adam Cole, man. They're both great professional wrestlers. They do an exchange of holds. Neither man really gets the advantage from the early on. Fuck. MJF. It's so funny to start off. He goes for a handshake, even though the match is very even, and he leads the crowd in a sportsmanship chant, which I will chant that every time there is a friendly match now. If I go to a live show, and I'll be like, sportsmanship, please, sportsmanship.
He shakes Cole's hand and then he gives him a big old thumb to the eye, Roddy Piper style. And I'm like, MJF, you son of a bitch. You talk about him taking pages out of Michael's book. That was a Piper move to its core, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm. You know what else I loved about this match was stolen finishers. Adam Cole hits his own version of the Heat Seeker on MJF. MJF gets his foot on the bottom rope. MJF, they brawl to the outside and they're about to tombstone each other through the table. MJF wants to tombstone his friend through the announce table, and he can't do it because the story of this is MJF, even though he's been the devil for so long, like, he cannot bring himself to hurt his friend. Like, he can't do it. He's grown a heart. He's like the Grinch. His heart has grown 3 sizes since meeting Adam Cole and coming across him. I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't have their heart grow 3 sizes after hanging out with Adam Cole for a while? Because that dude, I can tell you for a fact, Adam Cole is a fucking saint. He really is.
I'm going to bring up a really good point at the end of this match, which kind of supports my theory to why I think MJF's going to turn again. I'm still sticking to that theory. This is going to surprise
I don't
you,
know,
Zack.
man. I don't know.
When this spot happened, when we were watching it, I fucking hated it. But now that I gotten a chance to like watch it again and seeing it like just fit its way into the narrative, I thought it was perfect. So Cole and MJF look at each other and they call for the double clothesline. They both hit the ropes. I know what they're going for. They both hit each other with clotheslines and they pin each other and it goes to a draw. I looked at that and I said, that is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why they're selling a simple clothesline like it's the most devastating finisher of all time. I think that's why I didn't like it. And I knew the match wasn't going to end like that for sure. But so Justin Roberts announced that it's a draw per the referee. Cole grabs the microphone and says, 5 more minutes. And MJF says, no, we're going to go until we have a winner right here in fucking London. Stadium explodes with energy. They go back into it. And I didn't realize that was a callback to their first match when Cole asked for 5 more minutes and MJF said no. Now MJF is giving him that. It's like, it's such a character development moment here. They keep going, and this is when the story turns up to 11 because now both competitors are given the opportunity to cheat against one another.
Yes, so both guys in the early going try to roll each other up with a handful of tights, and neither one can get the pinfall. This spot was crazy. So Adam Cole calls for the Panama Sunrise. He leaps down. MJF pulls referee Bryce Remsburg in the way, and the referee takes the Panama Sunrise. Credit to him for actually, getting getting the fucking air, to actually be able to sell the Panama Sunrise. And now there's no official.
One of my favorite referee sales of all time. Next
to
Mike Chioda taking a low blow from Triple H at WrestleMania 22.
Yes, so
that's one of the thickest low blows I've ever seen in my life.
It worked, man. But now MJF pulls out the Dynamite Diamond ring, and this is where Tomas gets on the edge of his seat because he knows MJF is going to turn heel. But he can't bring himself again to hit his friend with the Dynamite Diamond ring and cheat. But this brings enough time for none other than Roderick Strong to come out there with a silly neck brace, hit MJF right in the balls, and Adam Cole,
takes full advantage of it and hits the boom, which I was just like, oh, notice how MJF didn't cheat, but Cole saw Roderick Strong hit the low blow and took full advantage of that.
God, that should have been the fucking finish.
How many people have kicked out of the boom? That's another really protected finisher.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it was also one of the slowest, groggy ref counts of all time, too. So put a little asterisk next to it.
Fair.
I feel like if it was a normal count, Adam Cole would be the new world champion. But no, MJF gets his shoulder up. The crowd cheers because the match keeps going. Roddy gives Cole the AEW world title belt, and he basically says, I'm your best friend, not him. So hit him with the title. He took Adam Cole finally takes off that tag team shirt. He grabs the title. And Adam Cole refuses to do it. And basically, that leads to the finish where MJF sneaks a win on Adam Cole with Tomas's favorite finish, the inside cradle.
I'm
And
gonna eat my words literally 2 hours after I said it. Yeah, I was a little annoyed when I saw the inside cradle, but the story, it worked.
it was fucking
Because what
perfect.
else is MJF going to hit Cole with at this point? He refused to hit him with the ring. He already tried the heat seeker. He's not going to put the salt of the earth on him. You know, I feel like this was the only way to go about it. Um, and then, yes, MJF wins and retains the world championship. Afterward, while he is celebrating, he sees Cole in the corner, very defeated, because this has kind of been Cole's goal ever since he came back after his serious concussion, that he wanted to win the world championship. And he feels like this was his one and only chance to do it.
Yeah.
But MJF is trying to cheer his buddy up, and he grabs the Ring of Honor tag team titles and he says, "You're still a champion. We still have these." And Cole, like a little spoiled brat, grabs the title belt and he throws it off to the side and says, "I don't care about those." And MJF gets really offended by that. And he says, "Oh, I see how it is. You didn't care about the tag team titles. You only won the tag team titles with me to win the world championship." So MJF grabs his world championship. He throws it at Cole and says, "Fine, you want it? Take it." And he holds his arms out and he has tears in his eyes and he says, "Hit me with the belt." Cole cannot bring himself to hit him with the belt. And they reconcile right then and there.
They hug
And
it out.
what? I did not think I was going to say this, but this whole thing, match to segment, it's 5 stars.
Oh. God, dude, I want to give it 5 stars so badly, but I feel like it was a tad bit overbooked with the false draw, which again, I feel like Tony Khan is starting to overuse a little bit, because we also got a false draw at Revolution when we were in the building, and I knew, because it was an Iron Man match and because the match ended in a tie, I'm like, there's no way they send us home unhappy here. It's on pay-per-view. So,
well, again, you got to consider who was in the match. MJF, he loves Shawn Michaels. I feel like he was just trying to replicate Brett and Shawn.
No, I get it. But
12.
then again, this is such a compelling story. You know, like MJF and Adam Cole, it's the best thing AEW has going right now. It really is.
I get what you're
Nothing
saying.
else.
I really do. And remember, when I first saw the false draw, I wasn't happy about it either, but I feel like that was just a feed into what they did in their first match to show character development with MJF.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go 4 3/4 though. Despite it, this is easily the best thing they put out all night.
But here's the thing. Oh, 2 things I want to bring up. So number one, like I said, my theory about MJF. Well, first of all, I was very shocked that neither of them turned heel on each other, and they went with the friendly ending. That was a surprise, a good surprise. But my theory is, you mean to tell me that MJF was so quick to turn on his best friend in Cody Rhodes with no hesitation, no guilt, but he's not going to do it to Adam Cole?
Well, I mean, maybe Adam Cole. I don't know what it is about Adam Cole and not Cody Rhodes, man. But Adam Cole has made MJF turn over a new leaf. It's given him a new lease on life.
You're right. Adam Cole is a saint, so it's going to make it that much worse when MJF does it.
Yeah. So Adam Cole, like, take it from both of us. We met Adam Cole at WrestleCon this year, and I told Adam Cole to his face, I'm like, I can't wait to see you win the title. I was pulling for him too, but at the same time, it's such a compelling story, and I know he's probably going to at some point down the line if MJF does predictably turn on him, but I don't know. I'm just so compelled to see where this goes. I'm really, really, really compelled.
You want to know why pro wrestling is in a boom period right now? It's because of the storytelling. You know, we talked about it so much with the bloodline, and now we're talking about it with MJF and Cole. I feel like all of us as wrestling fans just need to learn to be patient. We're so used to instant gratification. I want to see how this is going to unfold. And if it takes a couple more months, then so be it.
That's fine.
It's why MJF is not defending the championship at All Out. And I know it's a little too soon to telegraph, but I would love to see Roderick Strong win this tournament and go to Grand Slam. And he wrestles MJF for the world championship. So Adam Cole is now conflicted. Who's he going to pick between? MJF or literally his ride or die Roderick Strong? But Roderick Strong's being a little bitch right now.
Yeah.
I think Roderick Strong is playing his role very well in this too. And he's got his 2 buddies in the kingdom.
He does.
Can easily turn on Cole and MJF. And if you look at this story in hindsight, again, Strong's being a little bitch. Yeah, you could look back at their history and say, yeah, Strong and Cole have been ride or die ever since like 2016, the Undisputed Era, the Undisputed Elite, and all this stuff, all this history. But at the end of the day, Roderick Strong's being a little bitch right now.
What would happen then if Roderick Strong actually wins this tournament and then he uses the Kingdom to cheat to beat MJF for this title? Like, that's a possibility. That's a possibility, though, because Roderick Strong is fucking great. You know,
yes.
I don't think Roderick Strong, like, he never got his.
Remember what I said earlier in the pod about Shida randomly winning the title?
Fair enough. Yeah,
I just don't think Roderick Strong is the guy right now to take the title off of MJF.
Fair enough.
I want Strong to be a strong pawn. See what I did there? A pawn in this story. And that's why I want him to win the tournament, because I want Adam Cole to have to pick between his ride or die Roderick Strong or his Brochacho and MJF.
Well, this is the undisputed best story in AEW right now. No pun intended, but
pun's always intended.
All In London 2023, the first All In London. Great show. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm comfortable giving it an 8. I mean, undercard, you know, like there were some hit or misses on there. There were some pretty polarizing matches on the undercard, but the main event I think is more than worth the price of admission. And just the atmosphere, having this be an AEW program, it's a great step in the right direction. I really do.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It was a good distraction after everything we've been through the past week or so. So again, that's what I meant. Love professional wrestling. Tomorrow, we have WWE Payback that I'm looking very forward to. On Sunday, AEW All Out. I'm going to be in the minority and say I like the card that they threw together. We have a television championship match between Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor. We have, spoiler alert, which I mean by the time this podcast comes out to be moot, MJF and Cole are defending the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles against the Dark Order. We are getting possibly Ricky Starks versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in a strap match.
That's fucking insane.
Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander for the TBS title. I think it's a fairly decent card they threw together.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. I think it'll be pretty good wrestling. But yeah, don't forget Orange Cassidy versus Moxley either. Yeah, that's going to be a freaking banger. But guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up. Also, look out for reviews on this and much, much more. I got my movie reviews. Please be patient with me because I'm going to be opening up a show next week. So I'm going to be in tech throughout Sunday and then all the way up through Friday. I'll be in tech. So please be patient with me as we put this content out there for you guys. And yeah, I think that's about all I got. So make sure you take care of yourselves, take care, and stay healthy. Love professional wrestling, love entertainment, love the movies, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.